Flosstube, Katrina, the crafty cataloger here. Did not really intend to take a 4-month hiatus, but that's what it ended up being. I just never seemed to have a day ever all summer where there weren't other people in my house. So our oldest moved back to college yesterday. He was actually supposed to move back today. So I didn't think I would be able to record today. I thought it would be another couple of weeks, but since he ended up moving back yesterday, I thought I would try to see if I could get this in today. I feel like I have no clue what I'm doing. I have a big mess. I'm in a different location. I thought I'd try filming in my dining room. I'm also using my new camera that I've never really videoed with before, so hopefully it all works. Anyway, I've noticed that I've had a few new subscribers in the last month or so, and I just want to say welcome to those people. I'm not sure how you found me, but I'm glad you did, and I hope that you see something here that you enjoy. Other than my show notes, I really don't remember what I showed you last time, so there may be some overlap, hopefully not too much. I will start out by saying that I seem to have lost my mojo for SMSNL. School of Magical Stitches and Literature. Couldn't remember what it was called there for a second. I had joined the Stitchy Quest group as well, and I thought at first that, okay, I can do this. I can, you know, because I can count things for one and then count them again for the other thing. It'll be fine. I'll be able to do it. And I don't know if that was just what broke the camel's back and I wasn't able to, I just, like, too much for my brain. I really envy those of you who, like Kim Hollenbeck, she always is like, I did this, this, and this for my homework, and she's got it all figured out, and I can't. I don't know if my brain just doesn't work that way, or if I just don't feel like I have the time. I don't feel like I get a whole lot of stitching time ever, and so I don't have a lot of time to sit and think about what could fit where. And so I still have been participating in School of Magical Stitches and Literature in terms of like reading the book. I'm doing it on audio, and watching the movies. And if there's a thing here or there that I can easily do, or I think, oh yeah, I've got something right off that really I know will fit, I go ahead and I will do it. But I have to admit that many weeks go by and I forget to even look and see what the homework is for that week. For the Stitchy Quest group, I'm counting my stitches, so I'm just doing the stitch to Mordor and back. I was already walking, so I'm doing the walking to Mordor and back, and I have added to the knitting thing once, and hopefully we'll be able to add a little something here again soon for that. So I'm participating in both groups still, but I'm not as into the School of Magical Stitches as I was at the beginning. I was doing so well and I was having fun, but for some reason I just kind of lost it. If you are part of the Stitchy Quest group though, I am the person doing the webpage for that group, and I'm hoping that people are finding that helpful. And as always, if somebody sees that there's an error or that there's something missing, please let me know. I do try to be on it as soon as I see an event pop up, but I know that sometimes I'm not always on it. Here's doing something funny. So back to the issue at hand. Cross stitch. I did finish the J project that I was doing for my niece as part of her graduation gift, and I will try to insert a picture right there, although now that I say that, I have a feeling that I forgot to take a picture of that. I will see if I can get one from her. She's probably moving to college this weekend also, so she might not have time. If I can get a picture though, I will insert it there. And I did finish her quilt, which I would normally talk about in the quilting section, but I will try to insert a picture of that real quick here since we're just talking about her graduation gift in general. Then I did actually have some finishes this month. I finally finished Every Bird Welcome, and I meant to bring something out here. I thought I had this all worked out in my head. I was going to get up this morning, go walking, get back here, get this done, have it done before lunch so that I could be uploading it while I was eating lunch. And yeah, it's like 11:30 right now, so maybe this will work. So I finally got Every Bird Welcome finished. This was one that I purchased because I saw Taryn Burley over at TV Designs doing. Sorry, I have the ceiling fan going and it's making that move a little bit, I guess. I really did enjoy stitching on this, and I think it's super cute. And I think I'm just going to do a very simple oak frame that I have in my stash and get it hung up. Because honestly, it's been laying on my sewing table for a couple of months now and needs to just be hung up. But pleased to have that done. Really pleased with how that turned out. I would love to tell you what kind of fabric that is, but I don't remember. I think it's a 28 count, and it was something I had in my stash that I had inherited from my boys' piano teacher. So it was in one of those tubes of the Charles Craft or whatever that you used to be able to get places. So that's that. I started and finished Eat, Sleep, Knit. Sorry, I'm holding up another piece of fabric behind it to make it so you can't see through it. Eat, Sleep, Craft, Repeat. I got this pattern off of Etsy. It is a Stitch Rovia piece, I believe. And I just think it's super cute. And this was one that in the back of my mind I thought I would try using sparkly fabric with. I know there's a name you guys use and I can't remember it now. And then when it came right down to it, I didn't do it. I was feeling like I shouldn't be spending the money when I had fabric. So, but 2 weeks ago when we were grocery shopping, I found this frame at Meijer on clearance for like $5. It's kind of a gray blue, and at first I actually bought it and I bought a tube of paint and I thought, oh, I can just paint it for $5. But then I got it home and I kind of actually like the way it looks in there, so I think I'm going to go ahead and frame that in this frame and just hang it somewhere different than where I originally intended, because the place I had originally intended on hanging it already has 2 items in brown frames, so I think this frame would look kind of funny, but I have other places I can hang this. So that is one of my goals for today, is to get these things framed and on the walls. Then I think I showed you this before, but just in case I didn't, I also at some point recently finished Halloweenies by Plum Street Samplers, I think. And that's what this piece of fabric I keep using as a background. There's Halloweenies, super cute. I love all of these weenies patterns, and I'm doing these for my sister-in-law who has a dachshund named Penny. And my sister-in-law picked out this fabric, so my plan is to put this fabric behind it, but then I also purchased this pom-pom trim, because I'm not entirely sold on this fabric. I'm not sure that I really think it matches quite right, but I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to put that pom-pom, which maybe in the video you can't even really see, pom-pom trim around it, and then put that. And again, I think I showed this on an earlier video when I did jeans and weenies. I had put together a barnwood plaque and I had put the magnets on it. So the goal is that she'll be able to switch these out every, like seasonally. And funny story, I was kind of excited about my son moving to college today. because between here and where he goes to college, there's a needlework store, a cross stitch store. And she keeps very, very strange hours. And in the summer, her hours are even stranger. Like she's open Wednesday and Friday from 11 to 5 or by appointment. It's very strange. And there have been many times I have stopped by and the door says she should be open, but she's not open. So I kind of don't know how she manages to stay in business being like that. But anyway, I was excited because 2 weeks ago, I'm like, okay, he's moving to college on Friday the 23rd. I called her. I'm like, are you going to be open? She said she was. I asked her if she had a pattern in stock, and if she didn't, could she order it and have it in stock by today? And she said she could. And so then Wednesday I had to call. Like this whole moving him yesterday came down like Tuesday. He decided, well, he thought he was going to have to work today on campus. So he was like, I really don't want to have to like dump my stuff in my new room and then go to work. And so he called and found out he could move in early. So like this all went down earlier this week. So I called her on Wednesday. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it now. Can you just mail me that pattern? I was kind of disappointed because I was really kind of looking forward to having time because my husband wasn't going to be able to go with me today because my husband and my younger son started school on Tuesday. I was going to have to go over there with our older son and help him move in by myself, which I was fine with. It's his sophomore year. I didn't even shed a tear. I'm actually kind of glad he's back. He needed to go back to school. He was bored. He was done working here. And I'm happy for him. He's at my alma mater, so every time we go there, I'm, like a little homesick because I kind of miss it, even though, I graduated from there like 20 years ago. It still feels like home to me, and I love it. But anyway, the pattern that she's going to be sending me now, that I'm not able to stop and pick it up, is the newest one in the Weenies series. It's called Yellow Polka Dot Biquinis, and it's so cute. This Halloweenies, I really, really need to get put together today or tomorrow. My sister-in-law's birthday is like September 2nd. This is not a birthday present per se, but I kind of was thinking I would mail it to her so she'd get it about her birthday. Because obviously Halloweenies, I think she probably wants to hang it up right now. And she knows it's coming. That's the thing. So like, she knows that it's done. She just knows it's not fully done. Okay, other things that I have worked on. I have not touched my Hades like all summer, or if I have put so few stitches in them that it's not even worth showing. And I really can't even tell you why I have not. I just haven't. It's been such an odd summer, and I'm really hoping that life is going to get back to normal here soon, but it's not going to, and I'll go into that a little bit more in a few minutes. But anyway, other things I've worked on. I worked on this pattern by Teresa Kogut. It's called Oh Dear, It's Christmas. And I really like this one. And this is, oops, my needle minder's making noise. That is where I am at this point. And there's my Grinch needle minder that I purchased so that I can always think fondly of my husband, who says he's a self-proclaimed Grinch. His license plate even says Grinch. I think he secretly loves Christmas, but he says he doesn't. So I've been working, I worked on that. I haven't worked on that one in a couple of weeks, but in a minute I'll talk about when that's going to come back around. I have also been working on Friends Through Thick and Thin, which is that one right there. And it comes from this book, Friends for Life, which is a leisure arts pamphlet from, I think I've looked this up before, I think it's actually from the 90s, although it screams 1980 something to me. Actually, I'm wrong, it's 2004. I am stitching this for my best friend. She does not know that I'm stitching it. this is what I have completed so far. I have not worked on this one in a while, but this whole thing down here is finished. This border here, I think this border here is finished except for the flowers that go in here. There are flowers that go all the way down here. You can see the spots for the flowers. And this piece across the top is done. I think all the green borders here are done, and those were quite the task, let me tell you, because they were funky quarter stitches and half stitches, and they didn't always go in the same direction, and it was kind of one of those things where I really had to just figure out the pattern and then go and do the whole thing at once. But I have started working on her hat. This one will be next up after I finish the one I'm going to show you in a second, because I really would like to finish this and get it to my best friend soon. I think what I've kind of figured out with myself, what I was doing was I was working on a smaller piece during the week and then my heights on the weekends. I have a very nice stand that I use when I'm stitching my heights. It's the kind where you put the legs of the stand like under your thighs, and then my scroll rods sit across it. And I really do love it. It's a great stand and it works very nicely. But if I get myself all situated in my chair and ready to stitch, I do not want to get up. So that's partly why I decided that I was only going to do that on weekends, because weekends are a time when I actually might have a couple of hours that I can sit in that chair and do that. Weeknights, I get home, we eat, I've been going walking, and then by the time I get back, I'm lucky if I have a half an hour, maybe an hour at best, but usually only a half an hour, 45 minutes to actually sit down and stitch. So that just feels like a lot of work to get myself all situated to do the heights. So I was trying to do the smaller ones during the week, and that worked really well, but I kept starting smaller ones, and I think that was starting to overwhelm me as well. So what I really want to do is get back to having one small to medium project that I can use with my K's Creation stand that just sits, it's a lap, just sits on my lap. I just want to have one of those going. I work on that during the week and do a Haid or Glory of Autumn. I could do Glory of Autumn on the weekends, and maybe just get things finished faster and not feel like I have to, I don't know, I just get to feeling like I'm not making any progress, and I feel like I have all this stuff that's hanging out there that's not finished. And so I'm going to try going back down to just like one and then my heights. So the one that I'm working on right now, and I think I can finish this weekend, Home of a Needle Worker. I believe this is Home of a Needle Worker 2. Yes. And it's TOO. This is, I love this one. This is by Little House Needleworks, and I'm sorry, I don't want to take it out of the Q-Snap because I just moved the Q-Snap like 2 nights ago, and that seems like such a struggle for me sometimes. But you can pretty much see I have the whole top part done, and you can see that I can see I have stuff there. I switched out the house on the pattern is blue, and I made my house red because my house is red and I love my red house. And so really the only thing I have left to do is I have needle worker and these borders down here to do, and I really believe I have the end started. I believe that I can probably finish that up this weekend. That is my goal, to finish that up this weekend. Then I hope to go back to Friends Through Thick and Thin, finish that one up, and then go to Oh Dear It's Christmas and finish that one up, and then I will probably start Little Polka Dot Bikini because I should have it by then. But yeah, just trying to keep moving on things. I wish I had more time, but you know, I wasn't born independently wealthy, unfortunately, so I have to work. And I guess now is a good time. The reason I said I had hoped life would get back to normal, but I know it's not going to, is because you are looking at a very insane person. I work for a public library. I work 4 10-hour days, and I have the option to work 5/8s or 4 10s. I worked 5/8s when I first started, and then like that next summer, I started in January, and that summer I went to 4 10s so I could be home with my family one day, and then I went back to 5/8s, and I only did it for like 3 more months, and then it was kind of like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just work 4 10s year round, and then I can have a day where I can hopefully get stuff done, or I can do things that I want to do, which it never works out that way. I usually end up doing a bunch of other junk on Fridays, you know, like, oh, hey, can you take my truck and have the oil changed kind of thing. But I've gotten very used to my Fridays off, and I don't want to give them up. So I'm not even considering going back to 5/8s. But, so I do have a full-time job. And then I'm a wife and mother on top of all that, like many of you. So why I'm doing what I'm going to do starting Monday, I don't know. But I have taken a second part-time job with Central Michigan University, which is in the same town where the public library is that I work for. And I'm going to be working 2 nights a week as a reference librarian for them. And then also I will do 1 Sunday afternoon shift a month. I have done this job before, actually. I did it like February through May of 2018. I did this where I worked 2 nights a week for them. So when the opportunity presented itself again, I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. It was tiring, but it was kind of fun because it's different. The questions I answer when I work at CMU are very, very different than the questions I answer at the public library. At the public library, I get a lot of phone calls asking people asking, what's the phone number for JCPenney? Or can you tell me what the weather's going to be like today? Or do you have this book? You know, or can you tell me the name of the guy who got hit by the car that was in the paper last week? I forgot what his name was. I mean, you know, I get those kinds of questions, whereas at Central Michigan University, it's students who are doing research for papers, and so the questions are more like, I need articles from scholarly journals that talk about geothermal something or other and its effects on such and such. And many times I have absolutely no clue what that is. Like, literally, I'm like, I know nothing about geothermal anything. I don't know anything about this, whatever you're asking about. But my librarian skills do allow me to find things that will help those people. And so then I go out and I find the articles and I send them to them. And usually I'll find 1 or 2 and I'll say, okay, is this along the lines of what you're looking for? And then they can tell me if I'm barking up the wrong tree and I need to try a different tactic. So it is interesting and kind of challenging and something a little different. But why I felt the need to take on a second job when I already have a 40-hour-a-week job? Because I'm crazy. No, the real reason is I have a kid in college, and college is expensive, and you know, the money can't help. The money can't hurt, and the experience can't hurt either. To be honest, when I went to library school, my dream was to go back to my alma mater and be a librarian there, which is not going to happen because it's an hour and a half away from my house, and that's a little longer commute than I'm willing to do. But there are other universities within driving distance, and I have not ruled out making another career change at some point. I don't think I will, because I do enjoy my current job, but you never know, and so the experience can't hurt, I figure. So my stitching time is about to drop even more because I am now only going to be home one night, I'll only be home for dinner 2 weeknights and the 2 weekend nights, but there will be 3 nights during the week that I'm not even home for dinner, and I won't get home till 9 or 10 o'clock. And then I get up at 4:30 to go to work. So anyway, that's why I say, although I'd like to think that life's going to get back to normal, it's really not. And chances are this could probably be for the entire school year. So I know it's definitely for the first semester from now through the beginning of December, but it may very well be into next semester as well. Anyway, let's move on to quilting. I don't really have anything to show in the quilting area, except for I will try to insert a picture of the final product of the quilt that I made for my niece for her graduation gift. I had intended, once that was finished, to get my sewing machine serviced, just its, annual maintenance, and then pick up the cubbyhole quilt that I had been working on, which I have all the squares done. I'm just at the point where I'm putting the squares. I actually even have the squares sewn together in rows, and I just am at the point where I'm putting the rows together. But I didn't take my sewing machine in to be serviced until 2 weeks ago. There's a new store in one of the small towns in my area. I'm not sure I can really call it a quilt store because they do have some fabric, but not a bunch. But they do long arm quilting, and her prices are extremely reasonable. Extremely, way cheaper than where I had gone before, and I was very pleased with the outcome. So anyway, she also has a gentleman, I guess, from another small town nearby, an older retired gentleman, who will come to her shop and pick up machines and take them back to his house, clean them, and then bring them back. And so and she had told me how much that costs, and it was very reasonable also. It was like $50. The last time I took my machine in to have it serviced, I took it to the Grand Rapids area, and I had a coupon. I think it was $100, but I had a coupon, so that brought it down to like $80. But it took almost a month before I got my machine back. This time I took it on a Friday. She called me the next Friday I had it back. I haven't tried to use it yet, so maybe I'll be really disappointed, but I have a feeling I'm going to be quite happy. So now I just need to get my rear in gear and get that quilt out and get that finished, because I really just want to get that top finished. I don't even necessarily think I'll have it quilted right away, but I'd like to have the top finished so that that task isn't looming over my head. I then thought I was going to move on to a wall hanging that I have the pieces for, but one of my coworkers told us about 2 months ago or a month ago that she is expecting, so I would like to make her a quilt, and so I'm going to have to start on that soon because she's due, I think, in January. I've already picked up the pattern for that, I think, and it's pretty simple, just some strips, and there's not a whole lot of corners to be matched up, so I'm hoping that I can get that put together pretty quickly. So hopefully that will be something I can share in the near future. So next up, we will talk about knitting. The last time I talked to you, I believe I had showed that I had started another one of the baby blankets. Oh, I'm tangled up. Honestly, I haven't touched this in a while. I was just leaving this in my car, and I would work on it if I was riding. I still really love this feather and fan pattern, and I really love the color of this yarn. And as you can see, maybe, I have a decent amount done. I mean, I still have a long ways to go, but I have made some progress. But I haven't worked on this probably in a month. It got taken out of the car, for one, and also I started another project earlier in the summer, and I've kind of been really focusing on this one because I really wanted to get this done. I want to wear it come fall, and I still have a long ways to go on this also, so I need to step it up. This is called Rick Roll Wrap. Here. It's by, I don't know who it's by. Lyrical Knits. Lyrical Knits, it says. You can purchase this pattern online. There's what the finished product will look like, but they also show other ways of wearing it on the side. I will be honest with you, I don't find this very attractive. I don't like that. I think it's just the colors I don't like. I like the purple color, but I would never put that mustard orange with it. This is one of those where they had a shop model that someone had done up, and the shop model is what sold me on it. And so I am doing mine in the same color scheme as the shop model. And I have a good chunk done. I have the first section done actually, and I moved on to the second section. So that was I got to learn something new. I had to do a new type of cast on to cast on this section, and but I have to weave in those ends yet. I haven't done that. This pattern has taught me a lot. There's a lot of, you know, starting new colors, and when you get to a new section, and it's kind of nerve-wracking because you'll get to the end of a section and it'll say cut color 2, and that makes me very nervous. But so far I've managed to not cut the wrong thing. But I just absolutely love these colors. I am using Madelinetosh. I don't know. I don't have any of the ball bands right here with me. So I can't tell you the weight. But the colors are Tart Red. The burgundy is called Tart Red. The gray is called Dirty Panther, and the speckled is called Optic. Now, I almost had a mini heart attack because when I was in the store and the lady was helping me, we were trying to figure out how much I needed of each kind of yarn. And the pattern is written with a small and a medium size. Well, I need to make the medium size, and for some reason she thought I needed 2 balls of the gray. So that's what I bought, was 2 balls of the gray. And then I got home and I realized that if I had read the pattern a little more closely, I needed 2 balls of the speckled. It even says that if you're making the medium, you need 2 balls of the speckled. So I kind of hem-hawed around, and because I kind of wondered if, you know, maybe I could get by. But it's obvious, it's becoming very obvious, as you can see, that I am getting to the end of that ball. I am going to run out. So I called the store where I bought this stuff from, which is over in Jenison, Michigan, over by Grand Rapids. So it's like an hour from my house, and I don't head that way all that often. And I was hoping that I could purchase another skein of the Optic online or over the phone and have her mail it to me, only to be told that they no longer have it. So I had a moment of panic, but I did find some online at Eat Sleep Knit, and I bought it. I'm not entirely sure that it's going to match completely. I'm hoping that it will be okay though, because I'm hoping that there will be other color bands in between and then it won't be too obvious. I just feel like when I look at it, and I have not made it up into a ball yet. It's still in skein format. So maybe when I make it up into a ball, I won't feel this way. But right now, when I look at it, I feel like the new skein is whiter. This to me is more of an off-white, and I feel like the new skein is more white than this, more white than off-white. So I could be wrong. We'll see. But like I said, I am on section 2, but there are a lot of stitches across here, all the way across here. That's a lot of stitches. It takes me basically a half an hour to get one all the way across. So last night when we drove over to help him move in, I was able to knit all the way over there, and I actually ended up knitting all the way back. So I think I did get 4 rows done last night, which was a lot. So really enjoying that. And plans in terms of knitting, just get that finished up and then continue working on the blanket. And in the back of my mind, all of a sudden I had this urge to try my hand at socks. I don't know why, but I'm not even gonna consider it until I get these things done, or at least this wrap done. So moving on to paper crafting. I have nothing, absolutely nothing. Have not made any cards in months, and quite honestly, I really am seriously thinking about selling off a good portion of my stamp collection and saving the things that I know I kind of need. For instance, my husband is a high school band director, and our gift to the high school seniors every year, if they have managed to stick with band all through school, we give them as a graduation gift a CD and a DVD. The DVD has video recordings of all their marching band shows and a couple of concerts, whatever I can fit on the DVD. And then the CD, well, the CD has concert recordings. The DVD has marching band performances, usually at least 1 concert video, sometimes 2, and usually a picture slideshow of pictures that I've taken throughout the years of band events and band things and them being in band. And so I make a card that is also the case for those CDs and DVDs. So I would need to save that stamp set. And there might be a few others I would save, but I have quite a few, and honestly, I feel like making cards causes me more anxiety than anything. Like right now, my niece's birthday, my mom's birthday are both next week, and my sister-in-law's birthday is, like I said, the beginning of September. I should have made cards for their birthdays already because they really need to go out in the mail like today or by Monday. And I don't even want to consider doing it this weekend. I am about to the point where I'm just going to drive up to the dollar store and buy cards. And I've kind of already told myself that I'm not going to bother making my own Christmas cards this year. I'm just going to purchase them. Because I sort of enjoy it, but I enjoy a lot of other things more. So I'm still on the fence about what I'm going to do there, but I may get out of that craft. So, moving on to reading. I have done a lot of reading this year. I'm not sure how, but Goodreads tells me that I am 19 books ahead of schedule. I had set my goal for this year to read 60 books, and I'm already at 57, and actually should finish book 58 today. I have about 2 hours left on that audiobook, and I need to get it finished. So yeah, I'm not sure how I've managed this, but I've managed to get a lot read. I'm not going to go through everything that I've read because I've read a lot in the last 4 months. I will say that I did get Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire finished in time to get my points for my house for that. And also Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix has been done for a while, so I'm actually looking forward to September when I can start Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I think, is next. But a couple of, I have 4 notable books that I would like to point out in case anybody would like to check them out. Library humor. I will put pictures of the cover art here for you. The first one is called America's First Daughter by, the last name was Dre. I did not write down the author's first name. This was the story of Martha Patsy Jefferson. She went by Patsy, but her first name was really Martha. But her mother's name was Martha, so I think that's why she went by Patsy. And subsequently about Thomas Jefferson. I listened to this book on audio and I absolutely loved it. It was one of those where as you're listening, you're like, oh, this is a great history lesson, but it doesn't feel like a history lesson because it was very interesting. It's told from her perspective, so as you're listening to the book or reading the book, she's telling the story. And it's more about her than Thomas Jefferson, but he's a very big part of the story because from a very young age, her mother died when she was very, very young. And she took over caring for her father, like making sure that he was doing things he should be doing and trying to keep his public persona looking the way it needed to look. She was very involved and even kind of acted as first lady in some regards for him while he was in the White House because he was not remarried. And we've all heard that story. He had a mistress. And that's addressed in the book, talked about quite openly. But it was a very, very good book. And you learn things that you just didn't know. Like, I never realized Thomas Jefferson was a redhead. I mean, not that it matters, but you always see pictures of Thomas Jefferson, and he's this older gentleman with gray hair. So I never knew he was a redhead. Interesting fact. Another book that I listened to on audio and absolutely loved was called In Another Time. The author's last name was Cantor. This was a story of a young woman who is a violinist in Germany during the Second World War, and her boyfriend, lover, whatever you want to call him. It does involve time travel. So that, if you're not into things with time travel in them, I guess that might not be something you enjoy. But I did enjoy this book. I did enjoy their love story. It just was a really good book. It was one that I was like sitting in the car when I get home because I wanted to finish the chapter before I get out of the car. Another one that I listened to on audio was called The Bookwoman of Troublesome Creek, and the author's last name was Richardson. This was a story about a woman who was a pack horse librarian in the hills and hollows of Tennessee, early 1900s, late 1800s, early 1900s. I don't remember the exact time frame now. Again, learned a lot about something I just never even knew about. I did not know there used to be people in Tennessee who were called blue people because their skin had a blue tinge to it. And throughout the book, this character, you find out she's diagnosed with a medical condition that causes her skin to be that way. And so you learn more about that. And that's why blue people don't exist anymore, because now they know what causes it and they can fix it. But, learned a lot about, you just hear about life in the hills of Tennessee and the mountains. Definitely not a life that I think I would do very well at. And I don't think I would make a very good pack horse librarian because I don't think I'd want to have to ride a mule around all the time. But she, she was a survivor, and her story was very interesting and very great to listen to. So I really enjoyed that one as well. And then there were two others that I'll mention, and I actually read these in print. They were by one of my favorite authors. Her name is Karen Wittemeyer. She is a Christian fiction author. And these are the first two books in what I imagine will be a series of at least 3, if not 4. I'm thinking there's at least one more book coming. The first book was called More Than Meets the Eye, and the second book was called More Than Words Can Say. They were about people from the same family. The first book is about a young woman the main character is the young woman in the family. It's 4 orphans who end up in a train wreck on their way west, and they kind of make themselves a family when the train wreck happens and grow up together. The young woman, however, has 2 different colored eyes, and that causes her to kind of be an outcast. But by the end of the story, of course, she has found someone and ends up married. The second book is about the oldest of the orphans, and once his sister is married and the 2 other boys have kind of grown up, he decides to move on at the end of the first book. So the second book is about him. He's in a new town and he ends up finding love. I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea. I read for pure enjoyment, and sometimes I like to read a story that's just a nice story about people who have nice things happen to them and they have a happy ending. So I really enjoyed those. If you are into Christian historical fiction, you would probably enjoy Karen Wittemeyer's books as well. So my plans moving forward are to, in September, listen to Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I am currently reading a book called The Paris Seamstress, and I cannot tell you who the author of that one is off the top of my head. I am reading that one in print. I don't know why this is, but all of a sudden this year I seem to be reading a lot of things that are based during World War II, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I enjoy them, but it seems like several of the things I've read lately are World War II based. The next audio, I am currently listening to the audiobook that I said I should be able to finish today, is called American Duchess by Karen Harper. It is the story of Consuelo Vanderbilt. It's been pretty good so far. The next one I will be listening to before I listen to Harry Potter, though, is called Lost Roses by Martha Hall Kelly. And the only reason I know I'm going to listen to that one next is because it's already been checked out to me through the Libby app, and it's due back in 9 days, and 7 more people are waiting for it. So I have to get myself going on that one so I can get that one finished. And you know, never a loss for books. I have books coming out my ears, and I work someplace with books coming out my ears, so I don't ever have to worry about finding something to read. So I am going to do that. So I anticipate I'm going to beat my Goodreads goal for the year. I know that, but I should meet it here in the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks. I have been continuing to eat better. I am about 15 pounds from my goal of how much weight I wanted to lose. This last couple weeks has been a little rough. We've eaten out a little bit more than we should or normally do. And I don't know. It hasn't been awful, but I haven't been doing as good. So I've got to work a little harder the next few days to get myself back into the groove. But I still feel like I'm doing well with that. And the walking has helped tremendously with that. I did mention in an earlier video that I had joined a challenge with Map My Run to walk 1,019 kilometers in the year 2019. And 1,019 kilometers, for those of us in America who don't deal in kilometers, equals out to 633 miles. I checked right before I started filming, and I, as of this morning, have already walked 610. So I'm gonna conquer that challenge by the end of next week or the very beginning of the week after at the very latest, and I should be able to really get quite a bit further than the 633 by the end of the year, because I'm not going to stop walking just because I met the challenge. I'm going to continue walking. In fact, I even have it worked out how I'm going to get my walk in every day when I have to go from one job to the other. I have time built in, and I'm going to do that still. So I am proud of myself for sticking to it this year and meeting my goals. But anyway, I have gabbed on way longer than I anticipated. Way longer than I thought I would. Probably will cut half of this out. But I did feel like since I had the house to myself, maybe I should try to get a video in, since it's been so long, and I, like I said, had not anticipated it being so long. And hopefully I will be able to get back to about a once a month update on what I'm doing in my crafty world. So I hope you're all enjoying the winding down of summer. If your kids are headed back to school, I wish them all a great school year. I look forward to fall. It's one of my favorite times of year. I like summer, but I do enjoy fall. And it's nice to kind of get us back into a routine for a little while. So hopefully I'll see you maybe end of September, 1st of October. And I hope you all get all the stitching time and crafting time that you want over the next few weeks. See you soon. Bye.